Whoa, welcome to the video, man. You made it back. Hopefully you've been working on the stuff that we've been talking about for a long time. Lots and lots and lots of hours and miles on your instrument. But today we're talking about 3 techniques you can apply to the mandolin that makes you sound cooler and get some concepts in your head to be thinking about and practicing. The first technique that we're gonna apply to that easy D scale that we already learned. If you haven't learned that, go back a couple videos. But the easy D, or the major pentatonic scale, what we're gonna do is talk about 3 techniques that you can do with your left hand that makes you sound, could make you faster, could make you sound smoother and more complex. And these are the techniques. The pull off, the hammer on, the slide. All of these were 2 notes, ba-da, 1 pluck. It wasn't da-da, it was da. So, here's the techniques, slowed down. You can apply these techniques anywhere along, for example, this scale. I chose the D string right here to do each of those techniques. Let's start with the pull off. This might be the hardest one. And I'm just gonna tell you now, it's not gonna sound good right now. You have to practice this technique. I can't just show you and then you have it. I show you and then you work on it, okay? The pull off technique is when I have 2 notes in mind, 1 pluck. So what happens is, let me just do it again so you can hear it. Pull off is the hardest one. I'm starting with the hardest one. Don't ask me why. But here's the idea. I pluck this note, for example, and I'm gonna kind of pull down on the string and release it. It's called a pull off. So I'm starting here. I'm just doing it without a pick right now. I'm holding the note. I'm gonna pull down the string while I'm holding the note behind it that I want. And I'm letting it go, kind of like a rubber band. Like a rubber band in your hand, you pull it and let it go, okay? It's holding it down and then pulling that way on the string and kind of releasing it, letting it go. It's a pull off. You might find it easier to pull off to an open string. So if I start on my pointy finger, pluck it, and I kind of let it, don't just come off, but kind of pull down on the string and let it go. It's a subtle thing, but the goal is to have the same volume from the pluck as from the pull off, okay? All right, spend a week on that. Here's the next technique, a hammer on. It works kind of like opposite to the pull off. Hammer on, think of a hammer going onto the nail, pow. A hammer doesn't go there, it goes pow, right? It's an instant thing. Your finger becomes a hammer. So if I pluck my D string, I hammer my finger onto the note that I want. So 1 pluck, bang, and the hammer on. Okay. If I were to hammer on this finger, I'm gonna pluck this one first and hammer on my middle finger. So I plucked this one first, my pointy finger, and I hammered on my middle finger. It's gonna take some force and it's gonna take some practice and listening to it and responding to the experience you're having with it. Okay, let's do it to our open A string. From our 0 fret, our open, 1 pluck on the open string, and then get in position, hammer on that pointy finger, okay? That's the hammer on technique. I'm just giving you the concepts. It's up to you to think about it, see it in relationship to what you're practicing. The other thing is the slide. Let's say I want to go from this note to this note. Da, 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 da. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pull my second finger back into that note and pluck it there. I'm going to keep the pressure in. I'm going to put my eyes to the place I'm going. I'm not gonna look at my finger and hope that it gets there fast enough. I'm gonna put my eyes over here, pluck the note, and just slide it to it, keeping the pressure. It's not gonna sound good at first, but this is the concept. This is something to think about. You could also slide from your pointing finger, but I tend to find myself, I have this note in mind. I don't have this note in mind. I have my landing point in mind, not my starting point so much. So that's what it sounds like. Okay. All right. So those are those 3 techniques. You can spend months working on those 3 techniques. I hope this was helpful, and I'm gonna see you on that next video. My name is Jacob Paul with Inside Out Online.